Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the EG Dub. Now, I can understand it's been a while since you've heard from me. I've been, well, busy. But G's been out there, doing bits here and there. We've also been acquiring new tech, sorting shit out, basically. So hopefully bring you better content in the days ahead. Some of it's still boggling our minds. New gear, new software, all that kind of shit. But we are doing our very best. So in the meantime, we've decided to do a couple of things. G's got something in plan that he's been dying to do for a long time, and I bet a lot of you know what it is already. Whereas myself, I've got something PlayStation 1 retro. Now, I've not played this game in a long time, and I used to love playing this game on the PlayStation. It was a real pain in the ass for me at the time, because you'll understand, and there's a lot of things that you'll understand. So without further ado, let's get into the Broken Sword, Shadow of the Templars. Alright, so here we go. Just as cool as I remember, and we're only on the title screen. Can't go wrong with that. Hey. Alright, let's go. Let's mess around here for a second. Let's see what goes on here. So, I wonder what that looks like. Oh, it's kind of shrunky. It's made it big for me, but shrunk it for the stream. So, I don't think I'll be using that one. What does that one do? Well, it's not too bad. So what's the difference between that one and that one? No difference. So, yeah, okay, no difference. Well, if it is. Should we? Now we'll have that one. Alright. Alright, so let's start her up.
Paris. City of love, romance, and dreams. So they say. I used to say it too. But ever since that day, the day of the murder, I've always associated my beloved Paris with death.
Evolution Games. Bloody hell. Bringing it back here. Bringing it back. Okay, well, anyway, so the animation's still good. Now, I've actually got a series of these coming along. I bought them years ago, and now I'm playing them. So, going for a Broken Sword extravaganza. I don't want to keep talking in case the internet be narrative. So I can't remember how long this is.
I was at home having a bath when my editor called.
Collard, get your ass over to the Palais Royal now. You got an interview. With Pierre Carchon. Yes, the Pierre Carchon. No photos, so leave your gear at home. He asked for you personally. Don't ask me why. Anyhow, this could be big, so if he makes a pass, don't forget. Just smile, say yes, and keep taking notes.
So charming and so very apt. Pierre Carchon was a media king, a national hero, and one of the most infamous adulterers in Europe. He and his wife Imelda were just one step down from royalty. Whoa, I hate mimes, but unless you humor them, they don't go away.
Mr. Mime. You creepy motherfucker.
Here I was, the palace of the media king and the ice queen. I pressed the doorbell and set in motion a chain of events which would change my life forever.
Yes? What is it?
Madame, my name is Nico Collard. I'm here to see Monsieur Carchon.
Come up, we're on the first floor.
Ladder. Yeah.
Madame Cochon, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Yes, I'm sure.
The Ice Queen was certainly living up to her reputation.
Perfect cycle.
Will you be staying for the interview?
Mademoiselle, I know little of my husband's business affairs, and I care even less. I certainly have no intention of watching him pore over yet another pretty little journalist.
Pretty. You're too kind, madame.
Oh. Shit's going down.
Ah, the talented and very beautiful Mademoiselle Collard. Such a pleasure to meet you at last.
Monsieur Cochon, I am honored.
Oh, I'm sure you are.
Call me Pierre, please. But I do not flatter you idly. I was a friend of your father. He was a great man.
My father, he never mentioned.
He and I were very close. And then his death. So tragic. I must... Imelda, your damned cat's in my study again. Another Ming vase, I suppose. Excuse me for one moment, my dear girl.
You journalists are getting younger each year.
Perhaps it's the rest of the world getting older, madame.
Cheap shot.
That was no cat.
Mr. Man.
God, what? Monsieur Cochon!
Hey, oh.
He's dead. I must call the police. You'd better stay here.
There was a man. It was the mime. Do you think he...
Well, I believe we can rule out suicide, don't you?
No wonder they called her the Ice Queen. She would have been top of my list of suspects if I hadn't seen the attacker myself. And if I hadn't come across a couple of murders just like this already. One of the most important men in Europe murdered. And here was I, Nico Collard, alone at the scene of the crime. Should I wait for the cops? Or start my own investigation?
Start your own. Start your own.
It was a no-brainer.
Oh, really? Alright. Let's have a read of this. Alright. I'm not going to read it out, because I just can't be bothered. What's the point? I'm going to do a tutorial. Just change some volumes here.
The bookcase was filled with obscure first editions. Mimes and guns don't usually go together, but I had an idea that this was no ordinary mime. I'd come across this murderer before, and written about him. The costume killer, at least that's what I'd called him. I closed his eyes.
That's what that does.
It was the least I could do for the poor fellow. Some people hate searching corpses for clues. Me, I'm okay with it. Reminds me of an old boyfriend. In his pocket, I found a ticket stamped Bateau de la Conciergerie. Taking the ticket meant I tampered with the evidence. There was no going back now.
Oh well. No one. Oh, what? Oh,
I opened his eyes.
that's kind of freaky.
Best to leave the crime scene as I found it.
Oh, close his eyes. Close his eyes. Anything else? No, no. Okay, close them.
I closed his eyes. It was the least I could do for the poor fellow.
Oh, now you put the jacket back. Okay. We'll look at the window.
A small round piece of glass had been cut out of the pane. This was a professional job.
You think?
A bust of Pierre Cochon, humble servant of La France.
Oh, let's have a look out here. Oh, he's taking the ladder.
The killer must have used a ladder to reach the window. He was long gone. Guess he folded that ladder up, popped it in his pocket and took it with him.
Like you do with all the items. Inventory.
Pierre Carchon again. His eyes seem to follow me around the room.
It's not freaky. Yeah, just click on shit.
It was a boat ticket stamped Bateau de la Conciergerie. When I was a little girl, Papa used to take me on the Bateau Mouche as a treat.
So right click tells me about shit.
The police could turn up at any minute. Somewhere there were clues to the murder, and I needed to find them.
Let's have a look in there then. Guess not.
The door was locked.
Okay, I need a key. Pick it up.
I reckoned that cloth might just turn out to be useful.
I don't know why, but yeah, okay.
Even my fingernail wouldn't fit into such a small hole.
Okay. Let's use the ticket.
It wouldn't fit.
Oh.
A magnificent antique table.
Ooh, what's that? Let's say...
It was a tube of acrylic paint.
Okay.
French ultramarine.
Take it.
Just the color I was after for my bathroom.
I'm sorry, I have to go. Someone is...
Young lady, what are you doing? Oh, this paint. It's my favorite color.
For God's sake, keep the damn stuff.
Someone's been killed, I'm taking paint. Fuck it. Fine, let's talk to you then.
Excuse me, madame.
Yes?
Ooh, click that one.
I am so sorry for your loss, madame.
No, you're not. You're a journalist. Journalists don't feel sorry.
Not true.
We shall see.
Okay.
How did your husband know my father?
I have no idea.
You didn't know him? Thierry Collard?
Pierre knew a lot of people I didn't know, most of them women.
It's very nice. So, what we got? So we got a ticket, paint, a napkin, or a freaking cloth, and 2 question things left. What should we click next? I wonder if he can give us one. I'll try that one in a minute. I don't know. Let's click mime.
Why would a mime want to kill your husband?
Pierre had plenty of enemies. Half the husbands in Paris for a start.
Why did your husband send for me? What did he want to discuss?
I have no idea. His business was his business.
He never told you anything.
No, and frankly I preferred it that way. This is quite a scoop for you. I suppose you're already inventing the headlines.
Just because I am a journalist.
Don't patronize me. You're all cut from the same cloth. Do you have any moral sense at all?
Ooh, good or bad? We'll stick with good. I'm gonna do a good one. Oh, that is bad. Should I? Maybe I should do another playthrough where I just pick beachy options.
Yes, that's why I do this job.
Good.
You do it to see your name in print.
As if my editor gets the byline, I just do the work.
Well, don't expect my sympathy.
The police will be here soon, madame. Is there anybody you would like me to contact? Family, friends?
No, I have no family. Pierre and I were... He was all I had, really. Not much, was it? The dutiful wife. That was my role. He never talked, never let me in.
I know one thing, madame.
What?
If you want to find out who killed your husband, then you let me do the job, not the police.
Why? How do I know I can trust you?
Your husband invited me here today because he needed me.
Be the hero.
I think he knew somebody wanted to kill him, and he knew I could help.
I doubt it was your database he was after.
You're wrong. I was onto his killers already, I am sure of it. Please, you owe it to him.
I don't know.
All I need is a few more minutes to look around before the police come.
You really do have a moral sense, don't you? I trust so few people. And perhaps Pierre really did think that you could help. Of course it wouldn't have stopped him seducing you too. Here, take this. It's the key to the drawing room next to the library at the end of the hall.
Ching.
It was Pierre's room. I rarely went in there. I couldn't. I was too scared of what I might find.
Let's go and open the door.
Thank you. I promise you won't regret this.
Again, I ain't reading this stuff. If you want to pause it and read it, that's fair enough, but I'm not going to read it out to you. We can all read. Well, not all of us, but...
A magnificent antique table.
Yeah, I wonder what I can put in here. I wonder if the key fits. I wonder if it's got like a special thing on the key. Oh, let's put the glue in. Right.
It wouldn't fit. It wouldn't fit.
That's something George would do. Why does it come up? Oh, is that the second one? No, that's the second one.
Now we were getting somewhere.
Not for long, I'll get stuck soon. It's straightforward so far.
I didn't need the lights on. It was light enough already.
So look at the painting then.
The painting showed the Cachons together, in love. As the poet said, the past is a different country. Or did I read that in a fortune cookie? There was the very faintest of clicks.
Yeah, so I'll look over there. No, oh, couch.
This wasn't the time for me to lie on the sofa doing my Marie Antoinette impression. Though it is very popular at parties, especially with gay guys. Don't ask me why.
Random.
As expected, the desk was yet another priceless antique. Yawn. The blotter and in tray had clearly been placed with mathematical precision. I didn't want to take the tray, but I knew that I could use it.
And take it then. Pick it up.
I didn't want to take the tray, but I knew that I could use it.
Okay.
My heart skipped a beat. It was a carved elephant. But not just any carved elephant. It had been made by my father. I knew for certain because in my apartment I had its exact twin, carved into a box he had made. So Cachon had known my father. They really must have been friends. I decided to take the carved elephant. It clearly meant nothing to Imelda.
An elephant, Mr. Frodo. Who was that?
I didn't need a sheet of blotting paper. Not while it was blank.
No. Alright then. Let's put that on there.
The paint would have just soaked into the blotting paper. But the idea was good.
Okay, let's put it on there. Nope. Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No.
Aha.
I'd spread blue paint over the bottom of the tray. It was ruined. I was a very bad girl, but also quite a clever one.
Clever what?
I didn't want to take the tray, but I knew that I could use it. In a way, I was going back to art school.
Okay. No.
No.
Okay then.
No.
Alright.
There wasn't enough paint left in the tube.
Okay.
No. I didn't want to take the tray, but I knew that I could use it. In a way, I was going back to art school.
Okay, there's nothing much more I can do about it. Let's, what should we do? That's our open, let's click that then. Let's open this.
Behind the picture was a safe. The safe was locked. I needed the key.
Let's try the key then.
It was the wrong
Okay.
kind of key.
There's not that key then. That means I'm probably missing something. Shit. Let's try the door. Nothing else, so I'll try the door, and it's...
Locked. Not surprising, really.
It is. Well, no. Try that key.
It didn't work,
but I guess it would have been surprising if it had.
Hey, gotta try. Alright, so I'm definitely missing something then. Let's go out here and have a gander. Got something to do with this desk. Wonder if that will fit in now.
It wouldn't fit.
That's no fun. I don't even bother.
Even my fingernail wouldn't fit into such a small hole. It wouldn't fit.
Okay.
It wouldn't fit.
Yeah, so I'm definitely missing something. Let's go for a pizza.
Did you find anything useful?
The elephant.
This carving. Do you know anything about it?
It was Pierre's. What does the statue have to do with...
Please, I need to know.
He was given it by a friend. Something to do with Africa.
He never explained any more.
No. But I think it was important to him. Always on display. Why?
It was carved by my father.
Oh, I see. I didn't know.
Just one thing. I know this is going to sound strange, but did your husband ever mention... Did he ever talk to you about a penguin?
What?
Or a snowman?
What? I don't understand.
He never mentioned people dressed up as penguins.
Nico, I don't know what you're talking. My dear, you should go before the police arrive. There will be many awkward questions. I am grateful that you stayed. You've been so kind.
Please, call if there is anything I can do.
I'd misjudged her. She had every reason to be bitter, living with a guy like Carchon.
From the sound of it, no one and nothing was safe around him. Maybe I should have interrogated the cat after all.
The fuck? What cat?
There was no one I needed to phone. Not until I had solved this case.
It's like I saw it in the first scene.
Imelda had talent, but I certainly wasn't going to tell her that.
There's gotta be something in there I'm missing. There's gotta be something on him. There's something here. Let's have a look at the dead body.
Pierre Carchon was stiff for the last time.
What the fuck am I missing? What the fuck am I missing? So, if there's nothing else to click on, there's gotta be something somewhere. Where would it be? Where would it be?
It was a boat ticket stamped Bateau de la Conciergerie.
What am I missing? There was something fucking obvious. Really obvious. On the dead body. Gotta be something there. It's...
Pierre Carchon was stiff for the last time.
Yeah.
It was one of my hair clips. My favorite, in fact. It must have fallen when I was knocked down.
That'll teach me for not looking behind the text. Mental note, always check behind the text. So that will probably now be small enough to go on the table.
Aha! Nico, you are just so damn good at this stuff. Instead of comforting Imelda, I was ransacking her flat. Why? Because there was something going on here, and I had to get answers before the cops arrived. And hey, she'd been rude to me, so she had it
Just
coming.
pick it up. Okay, now we don't need the whole explanation and dialogue. What? Yeah, go in there, go on. Move it. Right, so now we put the key in there. And that gives us a cipher.
In the safe was some kind of artifact. There were strange symbols on its surface. It looked like the printer's blocks I'd made at art school. If there was one thing I'd learned about symbols, they are always important. But these symbols scratched into stone were impossible to read. I needed to find a way of printing them. At least the stone was round.
Paint.
But what could I use for ink?
Pick it
And what could I print on? Sure, I was stealing, but I knew Imelda didn't know about the artifact, and Carchon was past caring.
Alright, put it in the paint. Put it in the paint. And we get some funky looking thing. I'll put it in your
I rolled
pocket.
the artifact
Cool.
in the paint until it was completely coated.
Yeah, so let's roll it on that blotting paper.
Genius! The roller and the paint worked just as I planned. But what did it say?
And now it's in your pocket. All the blue paint.
It was some kind of coded message. It read, sub judice. I may not have learned a lot as a journalist, but that was a term I knew well. It means a legal case that is before the courts. Below it was a sequence of letters that made no sense. I suddenly realized there was a connection between the boat ticket and the coded message. The boat ticket was stamped Bateau de la Conciergerie. The conciergerie on the Ile de la Cité, by the river, housed the ancient law courts. So, sub judice could in this case mean literally under the law courts, below the conciergerie. I was pretty sure I'd found all I could here. And besides, all this opulence was making me pine for my regular life of poverty. This was a huge story. It was also one heck of a puzzle with a lot of pieces missing. But I was going to crack it. And if I could just remember the name of that fancy prize you get for being an ace journalist, I was definitely going to win it this time.
Right, well, let's get going then. Oh, no reading. Yeah, very nice. Right, let's go. Let's get going. Come on. Come on. So we do this bit now, and this should be near the end of the chapter, I assume.
Imelda, I will do everything I can to find the killer.
Thank you, my dear.
And if the police ask,
Don't worry. You were never here.
sub judice was the key. I was going to have to find a way under the conciergerie. I decided to head straight for the quayside on the Ile de la Cité. If there was a way of getting under the conciergerie, it would have to be from there.
And that's the end of chapter 1. So yeah, short and sweet, but I eventually got there when I figured out what the fuck I was missing. But yeah, can't be a good old point and click game. I do miss them, and so some of them should be good. I mean, I need to get all the Discworld. That'd be funny as hell. But yeah, so that's chapter 1 down. Next one is some sewers, if I remember rightly. So we'll going into some sewers next, see what we can find, see what we can break. Almost sure this game started off as like George, but I was mistaken. Maybe it's the second one I'm thinking of. I think I played the second one a lot more than the first one, because I actually had the second one on the PC back in ye olden times. But anyway, great games. So I'll upload part 2 soon. And for now, I hope you're all keeping well, keeping safe, and just basically doing what you can do with life at the minute. So until next time, this is Reyvon saying it's game over.